During her 26-year career in natural resources management, Martha Hahn held positions in government and the private sector. She was a resource area manager for the BLM in Utah, management assistant to the superintendent of Grand Canyon National Park, vice president for conservation at Grand Canyon Trust, associate state director of the BLM in Colorado, and finally, BLM's Idaho state director for 7 years. In this August 2004 interview, Hahn explained how Idaho Watersheds project began to influence the operation of the BLM's grazing program.
Idaho Watersheds they were just starting to get noisy. They didn't have a mechanism to make noise with yet. And so when rangeland reform happened, they got their hammer. And the hammer was the standards and guides, and renewing of the permit, you put the standards and guides in, you have 1 year. And if that allotment is not making progress towards meeting those standards, then that was their hammer. So they just waited. They were poised. And when the year came around, and if that allotment wasn't showing improvements towards those standards, then they started filing the lawsuits. So in fact, you could probably go back and look and see that most all of the lawsuits began in 96. And that was because it was a year after rangeland reform had been implemented. And they began their quest. And the reality is that we kind of cheered them on in a sense. I mean, we looked at it as, great, now we have someone else being able to hold us, our feet to the fire, because before a rancher could come in and challenge what we were trying to restrict them on, and no one would stand up for us. And we didn't have any true basis to be able to, say, well, you have to be meeting this. We didn't have standards like that. So now we had the standards, now we had a commitment. When the rancher didn't make it, then the Watersheds Project was right in there with a lawsuit, and the judge was saying, you have it right here. When are you going to do this? And so that's when the lawsuits started coming in. And so, it gave BLM the opportunity to turn to the rancher and say, the judge is telling us we have to meet this. I mean, it's sad, but that's exactly how the process began to work.